It's authentic.
When we come to your school, we all in the stands with you.
It's inspirational.
Honeybees is more than just about the field show. It's about inspiring young women.
It's groundbreaking.
It was like, oh my gosh, there's a girl trying out for drum major, all this stuff.
From the campus to the community, we cover everything HBCU. It's HBCU 101. What's up, everyone, and welcome to HBCU 101. I am your host, Jaleel Thurman. HBCU 101 is a show that will take you all around the nation, giving you the ins and outs of HBCUs and a taste of that HBCU flavor. On today's episode of HBCU 101, you are in for a show. We have Keshia Knight Pulliam coming by the set, but before we get into that, let's see what's good in the hood with our HBCUs.
Okay, thanks, Jaleel. The big news of the week, the Bayou Classic, the annual game between Southern and Grambling State, was no disappointment this year. Grambling had a chance to win it before Southern blocked a field goal in the final seconds, and the Jaguars hold on for a 30-28 win. But the big winner every year, the city of New Orleans. The Bayou Classic brings in an estimated $50 million to the city each year, with over 200,000 visitors annually. Proof that not everyone goes to the actual game, but we know these things. But all is not lost, Grambling. The school announced this week that it has completed one of the largest fundraising campaigns in the institution's history, with over $6.6 million raised over the course of the last 3 years. Now that's a win. Let's get back to HBCU 101 with Jaleel Thurman and a very, very, very special guest this week on the red sofa.
One beautiful young girl knows her as Mom. Many know her for her iconic roles on television, while others might know her as Chef Keisha. HBCU 101 is honored to sit down with Spelman alumna, actress, chef, partner of the Fearless Fund, and founder of the Camp Kizzy Foundation, Miss Keshia Knight Pulliam.
Hello, thanks for having me.
No, thank you, thank you. You had to give you a standing O, had to give you that.
No, I mean, it's always a blessing and a joy whenever we can do things that celebrate HBCUs. Okay. As you know, it is a magical experience like no other, and it prepares you for life in a different way. And even though you're part of a sorority, like if you join a sorority or fraternity, it's its own sorority, fraternity, like within itself.
It's a different family, it's a different culture. Like my father was like, look, I don't care what you really do. He's like, but for undergrad, I want you to go to HBCU. Yeah. Get that culture, get that experience. Maybe join a fraternity, maybe not, whatever. And then what you do after that, you're on your own.
It's funny, my dad was the opposite.
Wow.
He was like, you're going to Yale, you're going to Harvard, UV, like all of this. And I was like, nah, I'm in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to Spelman, but okay, I'll play along with you.
You're gonna play along.
I'll play along, but I applied early decision. Okay. And so before any of the rest of those apps were even required to be in, I was like, oh, I'm accepted.
Sorry.
So
let's talk about that, right? So you had such a unique childhood in which you played a nice role on such an iconic sitcom, The Cosby Show. But they changed the narrative for HBCUs, along with many other things.
Absolutely.
Did being a member on the show kind of drive you to an HBCU?
It did.
Okay.
The funny thing is that's when I decided I was going to Spelman.
Oh, wow.
When I was about 7 or 8, we filmed on the campus of Spelman College. We did an episode of The Cosby Show. And I will never forget, I was enamored, I was in awe, I fell in love. Okay. I saw all of these beautiful women who looked like me walking around campus, and it was at that point that I decided I'm going to Spelman College, hands down.
Okay.
So.
And that's really unique, because at such a young age, you're like, I'm locked in. Like, granted, at 7, 8, you got about 10 more years to go, which is kind of interesting. So you, Jersey, Atlanta, that didn't even matter.
No, it never occurred to me. I just knew that's where I desired to go to college. Okay. And I had family, I had other family who would come to Spelman as well, people before me. So I wasn't, outside of the Cosby Show, I was very familiar with Spelman and the HBCU experience. But, I knew I was going to go, and subsequently I graduated from Spelman. I have 2 brothers who are Morehouse graduates. And then one, the middle children are a little different. He's an Auburn graduate. We tried, though. We were like, are you serious?
Really? Come on down.
But
So the HBCU experience, your HBCU experience at Spelman, Take me through the 4 years. What was it like?
Man, I'm so grateful. Like, I love my experience at Spelman. I'm grateful that they didn't have camera phones and stuff, because, you know, I caught the tail end of, like, Freaknik and, like, all of that kind of stuff here in Atlanta. But I had a great time.
Okay.
But, you know, yes, there's the social aspect of HBCUs, but another piece of it that once you're a graduate, you really tap into is the network. And also just the relationships that you build while you were there. You know, some of my best girlfriends to this day, we went to Spelman together. And the other really great thing about HBCUs that I think a lot of people don't realize, you know, when you go to an HBCU, despite what's going on in the world, despite what you're bombarded with, it's the one time in life that you are being poured into, that you are being encouraged, that you are being told to be proud of who you are. And if you get a bad grade or you disagree with a teacher, you know it's not because you're black. It could be it could be a whole lot of other things that, you know, but that's one thing for sure, you know that it's not because of that. And I feel like, you know, it creates this space of, you know, feeling unstoppable. And then when you get out into the world, you attack things differently. You learn how to problem solve. You know, when you have to deal with the registrar and all these things that people complain about at HBCUs, but it creates a resilience about you. That is a life lesson.
Yeah. No, I agree, because a lot of people, that's the first thing they complain about. The registrar office, financial aid, trying to get everything. And I'm
all
like,
of that.
but I'll be like, you have to understand, those are like real life skills
Dealing
that
with
you're
the lady
building.
in the caf when your card don't swipe right.
That's when you learn how to finesse.
That's
like,
when
hey,
you learn
listen.
how to pass it back.
And you don't get that at all places.
No.
So HBCUs are definitely unique in their own way.
Right.
Now you also are in a sorority.
Yeah.
What was that like in undergrad?
You know, I'm grateful. I wouldn't have chosen anything different.
Okay.
Like, I knew I wanted to be a Delta.
Okay.
I have aunts who were Deltas.
Okay.
And then I actually have family who was Zeta Kappa, which is Spelman.
Oh, wow.
So I knew that was what I was doing.
Okay.
But you know, it's an experience. Again, it's a life lesson too.
Yeah.
And I have a sisterhood, like my line sisters are ride or die.
Yeah.
Whether I've talked to them yesterday or it's been, you know, this is my 20 year this year. So,
Right.
or it's been 20 years. It creates this bond that no matter where you are, what you need, what city you're in, you know, they got you, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's, a lot of people don't really understand that. Like, if you're not a part of a sorority or fraternity, people don't really understand. You kind of do things for people as if they're like really your brother or really your sister.
Absolutely.
And I think that's definitely unique. However, let's talk about Camp Kizzy Production.
Yeah. Well, I have Kizzy Productions, which is my, but I have Camp Kizzy, which is my nonprofit.
Okay,
so
we ain't gonna give them too much right now.
Yeah, the nonprofit for
because
sure.
Because you mentioned giving how HBCUs pour into you. You also have poured into people, but we won't give it to them right now. When we return, we'll talk more with Keisha about what she got going on. It's Jalil, it's Keisha, it's HBCU 101.
Coming up next on HBCU 101. Welcome back to HBCU 101.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's Jalil, it's Keisha. We got Spelman in the building.
Yeah.
What's up? How you feeling? You feeling good? You feeling great?
I'm good.
Okay. Now, Keisha, you mentioned how Spelman, or even just attending any HBCU, pours into you. You kind of took that with you, you know, post-graduation. Of course, you've had your life, but you also founded Camp Kizzy Foundation, in which you pour into young girls between the ages of 11 and 16.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about it. What was the thought behind creating this, or like the why?
Right. When I was at Spelman, well, I feel like in our community, the sense of village is something that we've grown up with. And philanthropy really starts at home. Like when, you know, you have that cousin who needs to come stay with you for a little bit, or the family who you're helping out, that is giving back.
Okay.
But normally, you know, in our community, it starts with family and friends versus reaching outside of those people.
Okay.
So that's always been my experience growing up. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. A lot of people don't know that. Yes, I've been working for my entire life, but I didn't come from a family with a silver spoon.
Okay.
So it's always touched very close to home. And then when I was at Spelman, I was a Bonner Scholar, which is a community service-based scholarship. Okay. So I did a lot in the community with the kids surrounding the HB. You know, when you look at Spelman, the AUC, especially back when I was there. It's kind of grown and it's not nicer than it was. But like we had the Harris homes, the university homes, which are housing projects.
Right.
So I did after-school arts programs with the kids in those communities and different other programs. And I always knew that I wanted to start my own nonprofit. And so 10 years ago, I started the Camp Kizzy Foundation, which is all about empowerment and self-esteem for youth. And we've also done programs for boys as well. But our signature program is the camp that I do for girls in the summer, age 11 to 16. But what I know is if kids don't know it exists, they don't know to dream it. So a lot of it is about exposure. This is true. And the other piece of it is, it's not just having at-risk kids or underserved community, like all of these different labels they give for kids who don't have as much. It's about all kids, because what I know is they're all in trouble. They're all bombarded with so much, whether it's with social media, with bullying, with, all this stuff. And also you need to have kids from different backgrounds coming together so they can learn something from one another. And sometimes they learn that they're more alike than they are different. And that creates a sense of empathy, which is necessary to our society. So I didn't want it to just be a need-based in terms of financial need, but I wanted it to be all kids, and that's what we've done. So I love it. They're my babies, and I love when I'm traveling and going and someone will be yelling, "My baby went to Camp Kizzy," and it warms my heart to just now see my girls going on to college, graduating from college, going into the workforce, getting great jobs, and coming back now and paying it forward to other girls coming through Camp Kizzy.
And what has been a unique, I guess, maybe story with the impact that you've been able to provide with some of the girls, or is there anything that kind of stands out of just, something that you've heard from one of the girls before?
I've had so many from the girls who've come to Camp Kizzy and were like, I never saw college in my future, and now I've graduated from Clark Atlanta, graduated from Spelman College, graduated from, we've had like Grambling, we've had so many different, stories that have gone on and done amazing things, that are like working for Microsoft, that are writing books, that are, doing so many amazing things on their own. So I'm grateful for just the opportunity. I'm grateful to be in a space that I can pay it forward, that I can just be that beacon of light in someone's life where they weren't expecting it or didn't know where it would, because every experience and every encounter you have with someone has the ability to touch their lives in some way, seen and unseen. And I don't take that for granted.
And I think that's very special. And the reason I say that is because, like, I have a 15-year-old sister.
Okay.
And granted, me and her are very close, but she lives in Chicago, and then, she has my mom. But sometimes you need somebody that can impact your life that isn't your mom.
Sometimes they can't hear it from them.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And I think, and granted, we're not in I think it's special that you don't, the stereotypes, that you allow everybody to kind of come, because everybody needs that type of love. No matter whether you have it or don't have it, whether you need it or don't need it, everybody needs love, though.
Yes.
And I think that that's very unique, that you open your arms and your doors to everybody.
Because just because you have a two-parent household doesn't mean you're not lonely.
That's just true. Yeah, so that's big. But let's talk a little bit more about how you've poured into women. So not only have you done that, but you're also a partner.
Yes.
With the Fearless Fund.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Now, that's unique in its own way, because, women face so many trials and tribulations as startups and trying to get their businesses started. So you guys have kind of taken it upon yourself to kind of help filter that. Yeah. Talk about it.
The crazy thing is, so Arian Simone, we're general partners in the fund. She's a FAMU grad. She's a Delta. One of my closest girlfriends. And really, it just came from seeing a need and being like, we need to bridge that gap and we need to be a part of the solution. So she approached me. She's like, Keisha, telling me about the whole thing, telling me the stats, the fact that 80% of VC funds are white males, and less than 2% are African American. And you can imagine how many of that are women. So that also affects the funding. As women of color, we are the fastest growing in terms of entrepreneurship, but we are the least funded. And we didn't realize until we did it and we started, getting out here, we didn't realize that we were the first VC fund by women of color, for women of color. Wow. We didn't know that until we got in the midst of doing this.
Yeah.
And we welcome, like, yeah, it's amazing to be in this space, but now we need other people to do the same thing. Because in order for us to change the landscape, in order for us to change the dynamics, in order for us to change the, financially what how this is outpictured, we have to be a part of the funding of it.
Yeah.
So.
And being able to be the foot soldiers in the beginning. And I think that's really amazing what you guys are doing, because like you said, you found the need.
Yeah.
So you seen the obligation. You made an observation, you seen the obligation. And I appreciate that, just from a man's standpoint, because a lot of people are afraid to kind of take those leaps, to kind of put
It's
themselves
hard
in the
work.
front.
Don't get me wrong, because I didn't quite know all that I was signing up for. Let me tell you. But I'm really excited.
It's immense, though. I'm sure the impact
Yeah.
is great. Is great.
And I mean, anytime you were the first doing something, it is going to be hard work.
Yeah.
You're blazing a path. If it was easy, a million other people would have already done it.
This is true. I've heard that my whole life. My father always tell me, he said, listen, if it was easy, everybody be doing it.
Absolutely.
So I keep that in my mind every time the road get tough. I'm
Right.
like, well, it ain't easy.
And I mean, and it's the opportunity to learn,
Yeah.
to learn and to grow. And that's why, it's really important to do things that you're passionate about. And I tell my kids at Camp Kizzy this all the time, that, you follow your passion, the money will come.
Yeah.
I feel like this generation likes to follow the money and doesn't realize that that's not how it works.
It's bigger than money.
It's bigger than that.
It's definitely
Some
bigger than
things
money.
are priceless.
Yeah. Experience is life. But we're talking about passions. You and I both share a passion, which is food. We're both foodies. But we're not going to give them too much. When we return, we're going to talk to Keisha about her spice seasoning line with Keisha's Kitchen. It's Jalil, it's Keisha, it's HBCU 101. We'll be right back.
Coming up next on HBCU 101. Welcome back to HBCU 101.
Welcome back to HBCU 101. It's Jalil, it's Keisha. Keisha, let's talk Keisha's Kitchen. I'm a foodie. I love food. I love
Me
spice.
too.
And I hate when food doesn't have that kick to it. What was the inspiration behind Keisha's Kitchen?
Love of food
Okay.
and love of cooking, and realizing that so many people like that, like women today, for instance. I'm not just gonna put it on the women,
Okay.
but a lot of times they're like, oh, I don't cook, but it's because they're intimidated by the kitchen.
Okay.
But in my family, that has always been the heart of the home. Both my parents cook. It's where we sit around, where we laugh, where we talk about our day. Our community, that's what we do over food.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was kind of being lost with this generation. And I was like, let me make something really easy. A lot of times people are like, well, I don't know what to put on what or how to do it. So I made it like, cooking for dummies, cooking with a dash of love. You just have your meat, your poultry, your all-purpose. And if you add the protein, then put this on there, put it in the oven, it will be amazing. And it also tastes good on fish, pasta, veggies, potatoes, you name it. I wanted to do something that was all natural, gluten-free, that I would feed my family, and that's what I did. I basically came together with my manufacturer in putting together the spices that I use realistically in my kitchen to make 3 very simple offerings. So we have some other ones in the works.
We can't give them too much right now.
In the works, but that's really how it came about.
And I think gluten-free is the key there. Because now, as life is progressing, so many people are finding different allergies, so many people find different things that they have, and they need things that are gluten-free. So now you're able to open up to a bigger market.
Yeah.
So I know that was kind of like some of the thought processes along the way.
And a lot of it is just really all natural ingredients, because spices really shouldn't have gluten in them. Like the issue is when you get these very mass-produced spices where they put a lot of filler stuff to keep them shelf stable or to keep them, lasting longer, or and I always say this, in my house we eat organic. Yes, we eat a variety of different foods, but it's either, put it in your body and pay a little more on the front end or pay more on the back end with doctor's bills and all of that.
Either way,
you're going to pay.
Either way. That's funny. So, Keisha, before we get out of here, we're going to play I Got 5 on it.
Okay, let's do it.
I Got 5 on it is a series of questions that I'll ask you, and you'll either pick this or that of which or what you have 5 on.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Okay.
Real simple.
Okay.
So we're going to go to a big HBCU question.
Okay.
The real HU. I know you got friends at both. I know this is a little tricky for you, because I know one of your good friends went to Howard. So
I gotta pick Howard because I got more friends who went to Howard. I'm sorry, Hampton. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Now let's go to North Carolina.
Okay.
North Carolina A&T or North Carolina Central?
Why are you doing me like this? All right, A&T. I'll give it to A&T.
Oh, you gonna give it to A&T
I'll give
by
it to
default?
A&T.
We're gonna give it to you by default. Okay,
Okay.
last one.
Okay.
Out in the state of Georgia,
Yes.
outside of Spelman,
Yes.
Savannah State, Clark Atlanta. Who you got?
Clark Atlanta.
All day?
All day.
There's nothing new with that.
No, I can't even. I took class by Clark Atlanta Mass Comm Department.
Okay, okay.
I directed News Center my senior year.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. It's a lot of love there.
Yes,
It's
a lot of love to Clark
Say
Atlanta.
no more. Say no more. Now, Keisha, before you get out of here,
Yes.
where can people find more about what you're working on, especially with Keisha's Kitchen?
Well, you can go to keisha'skitchen.com
Okay.
and you can order spices right there. You can follow us on IG, Keisha's Kitchen, at Keisha's Kitchen,
Okay.
and also at Keshia Knight Pulliam. So,
Cool. Keisha, well, thank you for
Thank
coming
you
on the
for
show.
having
It's
me.
been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Having that energy, the Aries energy, the Delta Q energy. We got some good
Yes,
energy in here.
Absolutely.
We got more with HBCU 101. It's Jalil, it's Keisha. Stay tuned.
HBCU 101. Welcome back to HBCU 101.
Welcome back to HBCU 101. I am your host, Jalil Thurman. Keisha, it was a pleasure having you stopping by the set. Now it's time for the Yards Got Talent. Check it out.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Jewel, and I'm here at North Carolina A&T State University for this segment of Yards Got Talent. And today we will be focusing on a pretty cool and smooth singer who goes by the name of Just Lee. Just Lee is a Greensboro native here from North Carolina, and she also attends North Carolina A&T State University. She is also a junior journalism mass communication student with a concentration in multimedia journalism.
Hey, what up? My name is Just Lee. I've been singing for as long as I can remember. I've been only singing for a year, putting out my own music. I used to be in a gospel choir when I was younger. My favorite songs that I have out right now are Tuesday, Why, Maybe Want to Need. I have a song called Hot Wheels that I really like that I've been playing with for a long time. And my SoundCloud name is Just Lee. Be sure to hit me up.
Thank you for tuning in for this segment of Yards Got Talent. And can I get a Aggie Pride?
That is it for today's episode of HBCU 101. I am your host, Jalil Thurman. I will see you next week.